place Saturday, November 1st at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. This year's gala will feature New Orleans legend DJ Jubilee. Don't miss out on this intimate celebration supporting our New Orleans public school teachers. Tickets can be purchased on our website, newschoolsforneworleans.org.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams is brushing off reports he'll quit the mayor's race.
Next question.
Adams says he's staying in as an independent despite rumors of a Trump administration job offer. Trump has urged Adams and Republican Curtis Sliwa to drop out to boost Andrew Cuomo against frontrunner Zohran Mamdani. A black Minnesota man is free after 27 years for a murder he didn't commit. Brian Hooper was sentenced to life in 1998, but the key witness recently confessed to the crime. Hooper, now 54, walked out of Stillwater Prison to reunite with his children. And rapper Young Thug is apologizing to girlfriend Mariah the Scientist after leaked jail calls revealed he was unfaithful. The private conversations, now public, sparked social media buzz. Thug posted on X saying he's sorry and willing to do anything to make the relationship work. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning. Wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Join my friends Naren Sanders, producer behind the glass, and Chief Eddie Campos.
Good morning. I'm here to hear you.
All right. So we've got another good show for you today. And we're going to have in the first hour, we're going to have Kimberly Novad from Saul's Light. She's the Saul's Light founder and executive director, and she's going to be looking at advances in equity in neonatal health care with us. So that's certainly an important issue, and we're going to be looking at various things connected with that, including the financial, emotional, and peer support these moms need. And very excited to have on the Good Morning Show this morning, Kathy Hambrick from Amistad Research Center. You may recall that they were hit hard by the federal funding cuts, and Kathy had to let half her staff go from that very important, nationally recognized operation. But she's got good news. Money has been raised, and they're rebounding, but in some different ways. So she's going to be talking with us as well this morning. And we, of course, have October 11th. What's happening on October 11th?
Voting.
Yeah, we got Election Day on October 11th, and you need to participate. We've got quite a number of things for you to look at. If you are eligible to vote, you should be registered to vote. If you're eligible to vote, you missed the last day to register in person or by mail. That was September 10th. So you don't have those two options. But good news. September 20th is the last day for you to register online. So you can go online and get registered to vote. You can go to the Secretary of State's website. You can go to the powercoalition.org/vote. There are a number of places where you can go and get registered to vote, and a number of organizations and churches that want you to be registered to vote. No matter who you're going to vote for, they want you to be registered to vote. And we've got a number of things for you to vote on, including sheriff, the clerk of the Civil District Court, assessor, mayor, city councilor at large, Division 1, city council member at large, Division 2, council member District A, council member District C, council member District D, council member District E. And then you do have the opportunity to vote for a couple of other people who do not have challenges. But it's important, if you think that they're doing a good job, even though they are unopposed, that you cast a vote for Coroner Dwight McKenna and for Council Member District B, Leslie D. Harris. So they essentially have already won, but they actually haven't won until the vote is cast. So we look forward to seeing how many of you all care enough to cast a vote for them compared to the other votes that you have. We also have the parish-wide home rule charter amendment proposition, and that would be amended to provide that no law shall arbitrarily and unreasonably discriminate against a person based on conviction history. So this is not a discussion on the ballot. This is a yes or no. So the summary is that the New Orleans Bill of Rights would be amendment if you vote yes. As it currently reads, the Bill of Rights states that no citizen should face discrimination based on race, color, religion, national origin, birth, disability, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, culture, language, social origin, or political affiliation. This amendment would add conviction history to the list of protections, meaning a person's past convictions could not be used as a basis for discrimination. If you vote no, the Bill of Rights would remain as it is. So we're going to be reminding you about that so you are more knowledgeable about that particular measure, because it's a very important measure for those folks who have had, some kind of conviction in the past, but just because they've been convicted, some people don't want to hire them or include them, even if they have done incredible things and turned their lives around. And for instance, just on Friday, we had a mayor, and I had a number of people tell me since then that they really enjoyed that segment.
Man, I got calls from everywhere.
Yeah. So that was good. But this is the kind of thing that would add convictions to the New Orleans Bill of Rights. Now, that's the New Orleans Bill of Rights, so it doesn't affect Louisiana and some other things.
Right. But, the framers of the U.S. Constitution, they adopted the Bill of Rights as a means of precluding the adoption of any law that would infringe upon or abrogate the basic rights of a citizen in a democracy. So even from a national standpoint, when the Constitution was being constructed, that was taken into consideration of individuals having the possibility of redemption in case they made a mistake. Because you don't want to infringe on individuals' rights. If you think that way, then from a moral standpoint, you're saying no one is unredeemable. But our whole system is predicated upon rehabilitation, the rights of the individual and the right to turn into a productive citizen. When we look at our criminal justice system, the basic premise of the criminal justice system, in my opinion, is not to actually punish, but to rehabilitate. And unfortunately, some of our prisons have done a very poor job of rehabilitating because of recidivism. But when you get an individual such as Amir, who has totally rehabilitated himself, he is a shining example of when you give an individual a chance, what they could do. You know, and there's many, many, many other Amirs out there. So I look at this as our constitution right, not just that, but as our moral right to try to help mankind and become a better society. And this is an opportunity to do that.
Yep. So we got lots of other news, of course. Since we went off the air on Friday, we had police officer Vapi plead not guilty to the new federal charges against him. And we certainly expected that, but that actually happened on Friday. And that's one of the big developments from over the weekend. And how about those Saints?
Ooh, wow.
We had a Saints game, and depending on your viewpoint, I think we had a decently competitive Saints game. Saints did lose 26-21 to the San Francisco 49ers. But what a game, what an ending to that game. Chief, you were there.
Oh, yeah. You know, it always makes me feel excited and disappointed all at the same time. You know, I'm excited that the Saints are in the process of becoming competitive. But as Herm Edwards said, you play to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm always an observer of human nature. And before the game, the fans are so ebullient. They have so much energy. Everybody's who that. But after a loss, it's like a funeral. They walk out with their heads down. They're morose. They're lugubrious.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, my God, is this going to be another year of ineptitude? And I'm like, you know, we got to keep our heads up. We got to keep our heads high. We are improving. And that just goes to show you the difference in pros as it relates to college. In the pros, I mean, there's a very small difference between being a champion and being basically an average team. Because those games across the league are not blowouts for the most part. They're very, very close within one score. But that one score is so important. Whereas in colleges, there's a lot of blowouts. You know, we had a couple of blowouts just in the NFL, but for the most part, the Saints have been in both of their games and have had the opportunity to win in the fourth quarter. And that's all you can ask for as someone who wants to see a competitive game. But as someone who wants to see the Saints achieve success, you got to win.
Yeah.
Got to win.
Yeah. Well, one of the newsy parts of the game, other than what happened on the field, was there was a Charlie Kirk moment.
Yeah.
Pre-game. And there were a number of NFL teams that did Charlie Kirk moments, including our New Orleans Saints.
Right.
What was that moment like?
It was, I'm telling you, it was very awkward, for lack of a better term. You know, I'm looking at this guy, and I've looked at, since he's been assassinated, I look at some of the things that he espoused, you know, and it resonates with me that this man said that he has trepidation getting on a plane when he sees a black pilot.
But what was it like in the stadium?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The stadium, people were upset. A lot of people were very, very upset, African American and white. People were very upset because they did not look at him as somebody that brought people together.
They vocalized that, or was it silent?
Many of them vocalized it. Many of them vocalized it, you know, and they have the right to free speech. You know, they were upset. There were many people that were very, very upset. And like I said, it transcended race. You know, people were upset, you know.
Well, you know, online I saw people arguing about whether it was respectful and whether there were boos, and some people saying there were no boos and there were no hisses. And I saw other people saying that everybody was sympathetic and in mourning and a very respectful moment of silence, and others saying it wasn't silent.
It wasn't. Where I was at, I can only speak for my personal experience where I was at. People were very upset where I was at, you know, and I was in the Lowe's level. So, You know, I can only go by my own personal experience, but I saw people, because they did not look at him as someone who brought people together, in my opinion. They looked at somebody who basically, you know, caused divisions. And, you know, his ideology as it related to the African-American community, the minority community, you know, it was very controversial, for lack of a better term. And a lot of people didn't like some of the things he said, and a lot of people took offense to the fact that he was honored.
Well, the New Orleans Saints declared the moment of silence in honor of Charlie Kirk and all those affected by gun violence. And all those affected by gun violence. Do you think all those affected by gun violence were actually recognized in that moment of silence?
I think gun violence has been with us for many, many generations, and I've never seen a moment of silence at the Saints game for gun violence ever before. This is the first time that was ever done. So I would say that that was an ostensible reason trying to justify it, but in actuality, you know, it didn't have in my personal opinion, it had nothing to do to the universal, you know, respect for.
So nobody there was actually mourning all those affected by gun violence. It was either honoring Charlie Kirk and mourning him or not.
Or not, exactly.
Yeah, well, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Detroit Lions, the Colts out of Indianapolis, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Baltimore Ravens made team decisions, and they did not recognize or mourn Charlie Kirk. So some of those teams got backlash for not doing it, and also got cheers for not doing it. There were some, you said at the Saints and at other games, there were people saying that should not have been done. And on Sunday, the Jets, the Cardinals, Dolphins, the Steelers, Titans, Chiefs, and Cowboys all had moments of silence for Charlie Kirk. Some of them put his image on the jumbo screen. Some of them did more than that. All of them asked for moments of silence. A number of them said it's for Charlie Kirk and. But it certainly seemed like this wouldn't have been done if Charlie Kirk hadn't been assassinated.
Absolutely. You know, it was, like I said, I've been working Saints games since 1979, and I have never seen any type of memorial or moment of silence for people of random gun violence. So all I can say is I can go by what I know and what I've seen, and this is the first time I've ever seen it because that individual was a victim.
Well, if you were at the Saints game or you watched the Saints game and you saw this moment of silence, or if you watched some of the other NFL games around the circuit, I sure would be curious to know what you saw and what you experienced and how you feel about that. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. That is the WBOK 1230 AM talk line, 504-582-9422. But we'll be getting back to that and some other news that you want to know, should know, might want to know after the break and in the rest of the show. But right after the break, we're going to hear from Kimberly Novod, Saul's Light founder and executive director, talking about advancing equity in neonatal health care. So stay tuned for that. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Singer and producer will.i.am is launching what he thinks could be the next generation of radio, and he's using AI to do it. It's called Radio FYI. He talked to Bloomberg about the inspiration behind the project.
People still listen to radio, and radio hasn't been innovated since satellite radio. And so now with our architecture, we're able to allow the listener to engage with the presentation. It's no longer a one-way street or sometimes half a street when you're able to call into a station. This radio architecture allows for 1 to millions of conversations at the same time during the same segment.
will.i.am also says his AI-powered plan will be totally different from streaming platforms like Spotify, even though many of them now have radio station-style features. Radio FYI will be designed to offer listeners a sense of community, something he thinks there's still a need for. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Lowe's knows you've got a job to do, and we help get it done. With the MyLowe's Pro Rewards program, eligible members save more with volume discounts on qualifying orders through a quote of $2,000 or more. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Offer can't be combined with any other discount, contract, and/or special pricing. Exclusions, more terms, and restrictions apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Hey, y'all. Make sure you tune in on Thursdays at 12:30 p.m. for the Roux with Chef Bunny, sponsored by Blue Plate Mayonnaise on WBOK 12:30 a.m.
A message from the community scientist. Do you live or work in St. James, St. John, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, or St. Bernard Parish? You may be exposed to harmful chemicals like phthalates, BPA, and flame retardants found in everyday products but linked to serious health risks. That's why the Community Scientist, a program of Rise St. James, brings you clear, science-based facts that protect your health and our environment. Stay informed, stay empowered. Visit risestjames.org today.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 12:30 a.m. on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 12:30 a.m.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. This is WBOK 12:30 a.m. I am Will Sutton, and with me is
Chief Eddie Compass.
Why are you here, Chief?
I'm here to hear you.
Well, all right. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. And we're going to be jumping into conversation with Kimberly Novad. And it's a very important issue because we're going to be talking about advancing equity in neonatal health care. But before we do that, Miss Kimberly, who your mama and them? Where you come from? What high school did you go to? cool.
I like to tell.
But you still went to high school.
Oh yes, for sure. I went to East Jeff, but I like to tell everybody that I'm a charity baby.
Oh, did we miss that part? Oh, okay. Well, let's start over
Yes.
so people can hear you. Who your mama and them?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school at East Jeff out in Metairie.
Okay. And did you were you born and raised in Metairie?
Yeah, yes. So my family has lived all over the city of New Orleans, from uptown to Gentilly. And so, I spent a lot of time throughout the city in the loving arms of my extended family.
Yeah.
But I would say probably my most important years were spent there. My grandparents lived in Kenner, actually.
Cool. And what about college, other education? Where were you spending some time for that?
Right next door at Xavier.
All right.
Yes.
Good job.
It's actually not next door. This is like we're on Xavier's campus.
Yes.
We are actually on Xavier's campus. This is the South Campus of Xavier University. Very good. And what did you study over there?
I studied
here.
history and French.
Whoa.
History, my
Now,
favorite
what did you think you were going to do with it?
Yeah.
And then tell us how you got to where you are.
So, I had a lot of big ideas. I did some journalism when I first got out of school. And for me, it was a bit difficult. I was a first generation college student. So what I didn't realize at the time is that a lot of entry level journalism jobs are not well paid. And
surprise,
right?
For sure.
I had huge plans. And then, reality hit very quick. And I realized, okay, what else can I do with this?
Yes.
So I spent some time teaching.
Mm-hmm. Good. So how long has Saul's Light been around? And tell us about Saul's Light.
I founded Saul's Light in 2015. And in honor of my son, Saul. He was born premature and he passed away. And that time period was eye-opening for me because I was able to see what the NICU is like, the neonatal intensive care unit, and what it is that people go through. Mm-hmm. And so that sort of all-encompassing, overwhelming sensory environment was very, very traumatic. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that was an opportunity to start an organization to think about the journey that people face, the difficulties and the hardships that they face, but to be able to create solutions so that people wouldn't face those journeys alone.
And how long was it from your experience with Saul to the creation of Saul's Light? I mean, that had to be a aggravating, devastating experience. Yet somehow, over whatever period of time, you got your head around this idea that now resulted in something that's still going on.
Mm-hmm. It was about a year later when I founded the organization. I would advise anybody not to do that. It was probably too much. I was not ready. And I think for sure that I can describe it as probably a grief project. It was something very soon after he passed away that I just felt, I have a lot to give, I think is a thing that parents feel, right? All of the love and the care that you think you're going to pour into your child. Mm-hmm. I realized I need to funnel this into something. And so that's how the organization started. And we started doing things like raising money for the NICUs that were here in New Orleans and the ones that he went to. So my son was born at East Jeff, but he spent the majority of his life at Children's Hospital because he was a very critical baby. Mm-hmm. And so that was, I think, the biggest thing was to be able to think about how can we support families? And it started simple, but then it grew. And so I think somewhere around 2019, 2020 is when we started to shift focus to think about how can we be more intentional with our work and how can we form partnerships with hospitals to try to create a better experience for families, a more equitable experience for families. So what I mean by that when I say it is that the NICU is difficult for everybody. It's hell in there. I wouldn't want any baby to go to the NICU. But it is made much more difficult based on how you show up as a parent, what you embody as a Black person, as maybe a person that doesn't speak English, maybe as a person that is from the LGBTQ plus community, or a family that has experienced substance use disorder, or, is maybe unemployed and, experiencing financial hardship. So the NICU is made that much more difficult by all of your life experiences that you have behind you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Who plans that as a part of their birth?
You never see it coming.
I mean, it's like we'll have to plan for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And even when you do,
Yeah.
you're never prepared for it. It's a shock.
Yeah. So, what was that experience like for people across the state at the time that you founded Saul's Like, and what is that experience like these days? Has it improved at all, but still a traumatic experience? Is it more equitable or not?
That's a multi-part question,
is.
and this is something that I like to think about all the time. So I know for sure that since we started, there are better experiences for families in that when they go through their journeys, they feel held. They know who to call. Families reach out to us, hospitals reach out to us, and that's what we want. We have, over the course of 2 to 3 years, passed some laws. So we've changed legislation here in Louisiana to support bereaved families and to support NICU families. I think to this day is our greatest achievement. And that being said, I think we still have a ways to go. What I would like to see is total prevention. I would like to see no babies in the NICU. I would like to see not any babies being born premature or needing to go to the NICU at all, because it's an experience that it really changes your life, whether you walk out of the hospital with a baby or, unfortunately, if you don't, you're never the same once you walk through those doors of a NICU.
So are things better now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So things are better, but we still have some improvements,
Yes.
and the prevention would be your goal.
Yes, of course.
Would it be fair to say you would like to get to the point where we don't need Saul's Like?
Absolutely. 100%. If it means that not another baby in our community is born too soon, or if it means, especially if not another baby in our community dies before their first birthday, or just never die, right? We want our kids to be born, we want them to be healthy, and we want them to live. It's the greatest thing that a parent wants for their child.
Right.
That, for me, would be enough. It's a lot.
Yes, right.
It would be enough, and I think it would be, my experience would be then never worth it. It's never worth it. I will long for my son and miss him for the rest of my life. But I will have known that for sure his death was not in vain, and we did something really amazing together.
I just admire you, people like you so much. It's unreal. But when I look at it, I put on my hat as somebody from academia, and I know funding and stuff is predicated upon those type of things. So what is the tangible gauge that you use to basically show success? Because I know when you're filing for these grants and different things, you have to show an actual correlation between what you're doing and how it affects the actual project that you're working on. So what is the tangible gauge of success that you guys use?
Yes. I think we can look at, the experiences of families. So one of the biggest things that we do is to provide mental health support and services. So that looks like making sure that families can avail themselves of therapy with a licensed clinical social worker or therapist, psychiatrist, depends on what they need. Being able to make that affordable so that cost is not an issue. So we look at the families per year that have gone to therapy that would not have been able to go before because they couldn't afford it. So we look at how many people are going to support groups, how many people are going to therapists. For example, the laws, right? How is that improving? So, for example, we passed a stillbirth tax credit. And so what this means is that families file for a tax credit that allows them to address financial hardship and other things that they experience in the wake of a loss of a child. And so we've had 18 families take advantage of that, right? So those are people that normally would not have had just a small modicum of financial support to be able to bury their child, to be able to do genetic testing if they want to have further pregnancies, those kind of things that you don't think about. But once you lose a child, you have to sort of make plans if you want to keep moving forward. How am I going to move forward with this safely and not be in this same position, right? So that's a big thing is thinking about the outreach, the number of people that we impact.
See, that's something that basically transcends all socioeconomic factors,
Absolutely.
race, color, creed, and organization. And what I always look at the human factor and the human attitude. So this is a suggestion. Maybe you want to do a longitudinal research design from an attitudinal standpoint as opposed to an actual, standpoint where what the disease does, because the attitude of the parents and the attitude of individuals that's involved in the program is, believe me, that's an intangible gauge that you really can't really measure unless you do something from a longitudinal standpoint. So maybe you want to do a pre-test and a post-test, of the people that's experienced your program. Something to suggest.
Absolutely. And I think that is the perfect way for us to collaborate with Xavier.
Exactly.
To be able to carry out that research. So we know that Xavier is taking the lead in health equity, and they're, creating the med school and doing all these wonderful things. And I think that the future is really bright when we consider where we're going and we see an institution like Xavier, of course, which I love. Actually not just talking the talk, but walking the walk.
Exactly.
Right. And so we've worked with them before. And so, from your mouth to, that's what they say.
Yeah, I guess, I'm always trying to think outside the box, because I look at it, I've had a lot of lives, I've everybody look at me as the chief of police, but like I said, I coached since 1977, but I was also an adjunct professor for over 10 years in various universities around the city. And I always looked at academia and research as a way to get funding, because the program that we had with Amir Barak, that the young man in intervention with ex-offenders, I had to do research on the causality of it and the prevention, and the research that I used got us a multi-million-dollar grant. So, when you put in these things in, you're competing against a lot of people for those monies. And so when you have something that's substantive, that's tangible, that they can measure, it really helps in getting funding.
Yes, absolutely.
So Louisiana has some of the highest rates of preterm birth and NICU admissions. Why? And how that affects Black folks?
Yeah, so I think that this is a question that we will always think about because we first have to look at the health of our country as a whole, right? So just overall, for a developed, wealthy nation, we have a high preterm birth rate compared to our, so-called peers out in the world. So when we're starting from that, right, then we look at regions. And so we think the regions of the United States. There's a story here that's happening in the South, and that has always happened in the South, right? So I think probably it has been throughout history, we have, for a variety of reasons, experienced difficulties when it comes to things like, what's happening socially in our lives, economically in our lives, politically in our lives. And so I think that Louisiana just sort of reflects the the inability to value equitable health care. So I think that it is a part of the South, which we know typically lags behind, let's say, the Northeast for whatever reason, right? So this is true in maternal health, in infant health, in birth outcomes. And so I think that Louisiana is, I think what we need is to be able to make sure that people have access to quality prenatal care, that people have access to the resources that they need when they're going through the NICU and when they're experiencing loss. And so I think it's a multi-factor issue or problem. And I think that it's something that we can get better on when we, plan for the future.
So is that kind of the core of the problem, the access that people are not getting on the front end?
I think it's one of the greatest issues is at access to quality care. But there are a lot of other reasons. And it's, again, how people experience healthcare based on who they are, how they show up.
It's people don't realize it's cost effective to be proactive as opposed to being reactive.
Absolutely.
And when you put the money actually on the front end, you save money on the back end.
I'm a firm believer in that.
So just from an economic standpoint, if you don't have empathy for this, which everyone should, but there's some people who don't. They look everything as black and white numbers. Just look at it from a number standpoint. It is more cost effective to put funding in this, regardless of socioeconomic status, and basically you save money on the back end. So that is an argument that's very palpable, and that's something that you can argue for when you're looking for funding.
Yes.
So walk us through, what is there a partnership with the various facilities look like for a family, a mother in crisis? What does that look like for folks who haven't experienced this, would prefer not to experience it? Can you kind of describe what?
Yes. We're working with families locally, and the biggest way that we reach families is through our partnerships with hospitals. And so what that looks like is that we work with hospitals to serve families, to think about their social emotional needs. So the outreach that we do, whether it's financial assistance to families or creating access to mental health services, we also work with them on things like bereavement and grief. So how do we give compassionate care to families? How do we give empathetic care to families? How do we think about what families may have experienced before they come to the NICU? So it's, I think, a sort of collaborative approach, the work that we do in the community and the work that we do with hospitals. And we are really sort of, I think, we're a bridge between the community and the hospital to be able to reach families and to help them be the best parents that they can be in a very abnormal circumstance. Right. That's the first thing. And then ultimately, the advocacy piece is something that we're always thinking about. How do we make our state better for babies and families? And we don't just do that alone. We do it collaboratively. And so I think, just to get back to the earlier point, Louisiana, we have a law that created opportunities for families to work with doulas. So this is a huge investment into creating better birth outcomes for women and for children. And so I think that, our work not only is bridging that, but when we're working in collaboration with other groups, we are setting the stage to sort of turn these birth outcomes around and to be able to make it better.
Why was that important for the legislature to take up something like the doula matter?
Well, because exactly what you said is that, the research proves that when families have access to doulas, they have better outcomes. And so mothers are less likely to have issues with their health. They have someone advocating for them, someone walking them through a birth and being supportive. And then the same thing for the children. The children actually have better outcomes. We have less incidences of maternal mortality or infant mortality. And so doulas they're community based, sometimes they're hospital based, but they're really working with families to get through a very vulnerable position, like which is like, you know, birth and postpartum and all that. So the doula is sort of like the eyes and ears of the family.
So at what point should a family contact Souls Light? And how do they reach you to find out more about your work?
Yes. Families should contact Souls Light through the website. Our website is soulslight.org. We're also on social media. They can reach out to us there at Souls Light, at Souls_Light. Sorry. And, you know, we love hearing from people, whether you've been through the NICU, whether you're expecting a NICU stay. We can help you plan all of those things.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Kimberly Novad. What a wealth of information. And I have known and know a few women in my life, and not all of them have had wonderful birth experiences. So it's great to know that you've founded this organization and that you're helping folks with particularly challenging situations like these. And I'm glad that you came and spent some time with us and our listeners this morning on the Good Morning Show. And I hope that you all will take heed to what Kimberly said this morning and look them up and reach out. It might be a situation where, you know, you only been pregnant for 2 months, but you want to know about this, just a part of your education and your knowledge base along the journey. Because as we were saying before, who plans for this?
Yes.
You know, but you can plan in terms of educating yourself and knowing what resources are available.
Never have too much
Souls
knowledge.
Light is there for them.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. This is WBOK 1230 AM. WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
What's the future for New Orleans? Will city services ever function efficiently? Our people need answers, not slogans. That's why the Nonpartisan City Services Coalition has asked the candidates for mayor how they plan to fix city government. Want to know what they said? Go to cityservicescoalition.com to see for yourself. It's time for action, not excuses. The next step is yours.
Paid for by the City Services Coalition.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show on WBOK 1230 AM.
The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. If you're just joining us, you missed a enlightening conversation with Kimberly Novod from Saul's Light, talking about advancing equity in neonatal health care and a number of things that they're doing and the important issues. Not something that you want to have happen, but if you do have a situation where you and your baby need to go into neonatal intensive care unit, you want to be prepared. You want to be aware of Saul's Light. So that was a good conversation and very helpful. And, we were talking about Charlie Kirk before that. And one of the things that seems to be happening is there seems to be a movement that all Americans should mourn for Charlie Kirk and be supportive of Charlie Kirk and lift up Charlie Kirk. And I don't think many of us, there are some, I don't think many of us are saying what happened with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, that he deserved it, that that's the way to handle things. But to expect all of us to have the same reaction is over the top and a bit much. And the way some of the people are talking, it seems like they want to almost like create a national holiday for this guy. And this is somebody who denigrated Martin Luther King, and they're like raising him up like he's some Martin Luther King, which is crazy to me. So,
well, no one should take life and death in their own hands. So his death was a tragic the way it was taken, but the life that you lead is basically a reflection of who you are and when you're honored in death. And the life that he led, in just my personal opinion, was not one of unity. It was not one of bringing people together like Dr. Martin Luther King. It was not a life that basically looked at people as people, and when you look at it from that perspective, that is not the type of person that we normally honor with a national holiday. Not someone that's divisive, but someone that was bringing people together through love and respect. And just looking at the speeches that he gave and his ideology, it was not put in place to bring people together, especially people from the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder, minorities, and when people espouse to that type of philosophy, there's consequences. And when you look at the perspective that, people want to honor him for the life that he led, that's, to me, that's unfathomable.
Well, let's hear from Tamika. We got Tamika on the line. Good morning. How are you? Good morning.
I'm going to start this off. I'm going to say that, it's always a tragedy when a person loses their life. And, my heart goes out to Charlie Kirk's wife and his daughter, I always say the power of the tongue is very, very real and it's very strong. I'm a 45-year-old woman. I've seen some things in New Orleans that's heartbreaking, especially within our community. And I pray for us every day that we get back on track as a society. But in respect to Charlie Kirk had a lot of things to say when it came to black women, black people, our civil rights leaders that have passed on. He's had a lot to say in regards to his own culture, his own people. He led a movement of hate. He led a movement of just destruction. And again, I don't, by all means, My heart goes out to his wife and his daughter. But when it comes to memorializing someone, especially Charlie Kirk, who, as he mentioned, he didn't believe in empathy. You can watch his podcast. He said it over and over again. He thought empathy was something that, that just came about. But you're a Christian? You were a Christian?
Yeah.
I will never understand. I'm aware of them wanting to memorialize him and give him a statue on the White House lawn, just as Martin Luther King. But it's not people we had, whether you're black, whether you're white, Hispanic, Asian, you have to, we got to be real. I heard about the Saints, giving a tribute to him. New Orleans, we are a melting pot. We love each other. We love white people. We love black people. But, we have to be real. Charlie Kirk made it very clear what he thought about black people, what he thought about black women, what he thought about transgenders, whether he thought about women who have had to, gone into this hole of hiding when it comes to rape and needing an abortion. He had so many stands on hate. So let's call it what it is. And again, my heart goes out to his daughter and my heart goes out to his wife. I don't wish death upon nobody. I don't think any black person is saying that. We're going to make it very clear. Just as a pastor who did a sermon in regards to it on yesterday. I forget his name, and I wish I did. The first thing he spoke on was it was wrong. The assassination was wrong. But for our HBCUs to be attacked because at the time they didn't know who was the killer, and for it to come out, of course, which I had no doubt in my mind, it was Utah. Utah is as white as Utah can be. If there are black people, maybe a sprinkle. But for, the Utah governor started off with, basically saying that it was a political assassination. But as soon as he saw it was one of their own, he changed his tune. The president changed his tune. Lauren Ingram changed her tune. But at first, they were hoping that it was Democrats. They were hoping for a civil war. But guess what? It was not our people. It was not Hispanics. Unfortunately, it was one of their own. And one of their own whose family was a downright 100% Republican. It's time for the media and anyone else to be honest. Again, my heart and prayers go out to him. My heart and prayers go, Lord have mercy on his soul. That's what I will say.
All right. Well, thank you.
My heart goes out to his wife and his daughter. You guys have a wonderful day. God bless.
Thank you very much.
And take care.
All right. Thank you so much, Nika. Have a great day. We're right up against it, Mr. Narn. Or were you going to take a break, or can I take this call? All right. James, you're on the line.
I'm going to be quick. I know y'all right up against it.
Thank you,
Chief, it ain't your grand rising to y'all in the audience. Chief, it ain't your opinion. It was Charlie Kirk's opinion. All of the opinions expressed and viewed were all of his doing, thinking, and being. So he got what he got. As far as feeling sorry for the wife and the daughter, the wife has come out and said that she will be as aggressive or even more aggressive as Charlie Kirk. So I feel nothing for her as well. It's time for us to put our feelings in our back pocket and get with the business of dealing with our own stuff. This is infighting in their tribe. Their tribe is fighting. Their tribe is a violent, warlike tribe. And I would caution, I would ask everybody listening to go and Google the last black mass shooting, to go and Google anybody in the black population or culture destroying another population or culture, utterly destroying. I would say go find weapons of mass destruction. I would also say point me to the ships or the vessels that bring all the drugs, dope, and guns in and out of this country. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you so much, James. We appreciate your call. This is the Good Morning Show, WBOK 1230 AM. We're going to be going to break, but after the break, we have the honor of hearing from Kathy Hambrick of the Amistad Research Center, and I am excited to have Kathy join us this morning. The Amistad Research Center means so much, and she's got some great news. We've shared that with you previously. We're going to hear it straight from Kathy Hambrick about the good news, but the challenge is not over, and she's going to tell us about that. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
Join New Schools for New Orleans, All-State Sugar Bowl, and Entergy New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 4th annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. The gala will take place Saturday, November 1st at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. This year's gala will feature New Orleans legend DJ Jubilee. Don't miss out on this intimate celebration supporting our New Orleans public school teachers. Tickets can be purchased on our website, newschoolsforneworleans.org.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries warns Republicans they'll regret reopening the January 6th probe.
Donald Trump and House Republicans are now determined to whitewash that day that will always live in infamy.
Jeffries tapped Eric Swalwell to lead Democrats on the new subcommittee, joined by Jasmine Crockett and Jared Moskowitz. The black man seen in a viral Jacksonville, Florida traffic stop video is suing the city and the arresting officer. Will McNeil Jr.'s lawyers also want a DOJ investigation after video showed him punched and dragged from his car during the February stop. And Joe Budden is on a potential witness list in Megan Thee Stallion's upcoming defamation trial. Blogger Milagro Grams faces claims she spread false stories during Tory Lanez 2022 case. The trial begins November 17th. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Not a day goes by that the President of the United States demonstrates his reckless lust for power, his seemingly maniacal disregard for due process. Characteristics in bold display recently to the entire world, with his controversial and questionable decision to order the U.S. military to blow up a small boat in international waters, no less, killing 11 Venezuelans he suspected of smuggling drugs headed to America. This raises many troubling concerns. Underscore the word suspected. When did it become lawful to kill suspects? There was no search and seizure to confirm evidence, though the Trump administration insists they have taped conversations indicating the boat was occupied by drug smugglers associated with a Venezuelan gang. Does that warrant killing them? Why not just stop the boat and arresting the occupants? Consider that the boat was in international waters and not carrying enough fuel to even make it to the United States. In fact, they had turned around and headed back to Venezuela after noticing they were being tracked by the U.S. military. Legal specialists have called it a crime to kill suspected low-level drug smugglers as if they were wartime soldiers. I spoke with Lieutenant General Russell Honore, a former member of the Joint Chief of Staff's counter-drug strategy team. He says what happened has never been seen before, is not normal. The general says the military is not a drug enforcement agency. What usually happens, he says, is the military uses sensors to track smugglers, turns the information over to the Coast Guard, who then attempts to stop, board the vessel, confiscate the drugs, and arrest smugglers. In the event that the vessel carrying the smugglers doesn't stop, the Coast Guard only shoots the engine out to disable the craft. Trump claims the Venezuelan suspects were a threat to America. Legal experts, along with top military lawyers, have rejected that premise. They question whether Trump has legal authority to treat suspected drug smuggling as tantamount to an attack on the United States. Even if one were to accept Trump's argument, I ask you, where was the threat when the boat had already turned away? Mind you, this is all happening within the time frame of the president changing the name of the Defense Department back to the Department of War, which dates back to the 1950s. A perfect fit, however, for Pete Hegseth, the current head of the, quote, War Department, unquote. A Trump sycophant who told Fox News that, quote, we smoked that narcotics boat and sent the narco-terrorists to the bottom of the ocean, end quote. Let me be clear. The U.S. military attack on a civilian boat in international waters allegedly carrying suspected drug smugglers is yet the latest attempt by Trump to test the limits of the law as he seeks to expand the scope of his presidential power. And with this sycophant Pete Hegseth in charge of the War Department, I shudder to think what would happen in a domestic situation, as took place during the Black Lives Matter protest when President Trump asked a military general if it was okay or legal to just shoot protesters in the leg. The general, of course, said no, telling the president to F off. What would Hegseth say? This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
Good morning. Wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. It is 8:10 a.m. You got somewhere to be at 8:15. Woo-hoo! You better hope that it's a very short drive from where you are and you're already in your car or your truck. At 8:30, if you got somewhere to go, you got a little bit of time. You can be a little bit more casual. But right now, we're going to hop into conversation with Kathy Hambrook from the Amistad Research Center and Michaela Iverson, who's the committee chair for an exciting event that's going to be coming up on September 26th. But first, Ms. Hambrook, since you have had some really good news in the last few weeks, let's go ahead and hit that, because I know this fundraiser is a part of the real work that needs to be done. But let's go ahead and talk about what the heck happened just some weeks ago, earlier this summer, with federal funds cut and having to cut staff.
Well, you know, I was taught by my parents that you should be modest and not brag. But I am really so proud of my staff, the grant writers, the board of directors, volunteers like Michaela Iverson, who is here, and friends who have given me support, even WWOZ, by allowing me to be on the radio through all of the executive orders that were coming down in that first quarter of 2025 that had me pretty much in a pretty bad state of mind. And I must say that it is an honor to announce, thanks to all of you, your listeners who sent $5 donations, $50 donations, $150,000 donations, and the granting agencies with the City of New Orleans, the Mellon Foundation, Getty, the Getty Institute in Malibu, California, that we have secured $1.7 million.
What? Whoa!
And
you're hearing it here.
in about 200 days. So my message is, don't be discouraged by what you hear coming down the pipeline from Washington, D.C. I put out that call to action to save Black history at the Amistad Research Center. And I want to say that the people came to our rescue. Friends and allies are what we need now. And Michaela, who is here, who I'd like to introduce, can tell you more about the call she made to me as I was crying on her shoulders before the money started rolling in.
Yeah, first of all, I'm just in awe of, and it's such an honor to be beside Miss Kathy Hambrook in this endeavor, because it's so inspiring to see a legend living her legacy, right? So I called Kathy when I heard what had happened and asked her how I could help. And I was thinking that maybe I should pick up the phone or dust off some boxes or, something, of one of the 7 people that had to leave, that had gotten fired. And then we started talking about what we really needed. And we needed to feel calm. We needed to calm our nerves. We needed to feel better. And then Amistad needed more money to secure the positions and rehiring of the staff members that were laid off. And it didn't take us long to agree that music is the best way for us to calm our nerves. Mm-hmm. And then we talked about who we lost this year. Angie Stone, Roy Ayers, Roberta Flack, Sly Stone. Mm-hmm. And then we started talking about that we needed an old school vinyl listening party, that we wanted to hear these albums as albums again. Mm-hmm. Old school, where you hear one song. It used to be called a song, not a track. One song, and then there's a little break in between 2 songs.
Yep.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And then the next song.
I was there.
Right?
people were actually singing.
Right? And people were actually singing, and we were laying on the floor reading our cover notes again and again, because we didn't have the phones to distract us. So when we were listening to music, we were also reading the cover notes and dreaming ourselves away to higher ground. And then we decided to merge the two. A fundraiser and a vinyl listening party. So honoring 4 legends in Black music that we lost this year, and then saving Black history. And we're going to do what benevolent societies has been doing for many hundred years, and that is having a good time and getting the money in the right direction so we can preserve our story. Not in the cloud where it can go away and be deleted or disappear, but as Ms. Hambrick says the truth is on the paper, and they got the paper. So
Right.
now they need more paper so we can preserve more paper, because there's coming more paper, because people, they leave all their estates to the Amistad. You know, big cultural personalities and artists, they leave everything. So Ms. Kathy and Amistad need to continue to have the funds to archive and register and protect all these upcoming documents. You never know who's sending all their stuff your way.
Well, it's quite a repository and an incredible place that people come and visit for research and other needs from across the world. I mean, I'm not sure people in New Orleans realize what kinds of people.
Right, they come here for that.
You've
been there.
I've been there a number of times, and it's really remarkable when you hear, oh, so-and-so was just here from this party. So it's like, what? You know? But that's because of the quality and the dependability of the center with what you have and how you keep up with it, and whatever you accept, doesn't mean you accept everything. Whatever you accept is going to be taken care of, and you have to do that with staff. So we got this big fundraiser coming up on September 26th for the people who said, didn't she just say $1.7 million? Explain why
that ain't enough.
$1.7 million connecting to a $25 a person fundraiser is connected.
Well, you know, we think of $1.7 million as a lot of money, and yes, it is. Our operating budget for the Amistad Research Center is $1.3 million for 14 people. You know, we have to buy acid-free materials to protect the paper. We have 17 original letters of Fannie Lou Hamer.
Yes.
We have 2 original diaries of Mary McLeod Bethune.
Yes.
We have letters of Thurgood Marshall, between Thurgood Marshall and A.P. Turow. We just received the Louisiana Prince Hall Mason records from lodges all over the state. There is a lot of hands-on work that goes into preserving this paper. And I say that the truth be told on the paper. You know, when you read a letter, actual letter written by Fannie Lou Hamer, that letter has not been altered by AI.
Right.
It has not been interpreted on TikTok. You are reading the truth from the mind and the wisdom of the woman who sacrificed her life so that we would have all of the civil rights, or the civil rights that we have today. So $1.7 million is going to get us through about a year and a half. There's more money coming. My goal is $2 million by the end of this year. That's just a couple of more months.
All right.
But I will be making an announcement very soon that ultimately my goal is $20 million so that my staff can retire from the Amistad. So it doesn't matter who the president is.
Right.
You know,
Right.
whether this history, Black history, is protected for future generations should not depend on who the president is. And I say in New Orleans, we ain't going down like that.
All right. All right. I hear you. Chief?
You know, we always talk about generational wealth, but rarely do I hear people talk about generational history. Because wealth is something that's fleeting. It's something that's ephemeral. It's something that will not last forever. But history is something that basically takes deep roots. It's something that young people identify with. It's something that you can call upon to find out who you are, where you've been. And we build generational wealth like it's something that's lasting. But generational history is the only thing that truly lasts. Because my great-grandmother used to always tell me about the history of my family, about the history of my ancestors and who I am. I remember Jerome Smith, Big Duck, used to look at us as young people and talk about the sacrifices that black people made in the 50s and the 60s that allowed us some of the rights that we have. And those letters, that history is at the place that we're trying to preserve. And when young people, young African-American people can go there and actually touch and feel and experience our history, it's a tremendous thing. And I'm very, very proud that you guys came on. And it's like, I'm very excited. Thank you.
Yes, and $25, Will, you asked me, you said, well, if you already have all that money, why are you asking me for my $25? Right. I want you to know that the Amistad Research Center, we're located at Tulane University, but we're not a part of the Tulane library system.
Right.
Your location.
That's just your location.
We're just located there, and we are an independent 501c3. So that means that we have to raise the majority of our money. And when I hear other libraries or archives around the country say to me, when I ask, well, are you facing budget cuts? The same as Harvard University. One of the universities told me in the North that they had enough money to last until the end of time.
Wow. Wow.
So that inspired me. I said, so if this university, unfortunately not an HBCU, but if this major Ivy League university could tell me that their 15 libraries and 15 archives on their campus had enough money to last till the end of time, I said $20 million ain't nothing for us.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Woo.
And also,
That's a heck of a thing.
It is until the end of time.
End of time.
That's a statement. And and sometimes people, they say, well, it's black history. But black history is American history because at no point have we been here alone. I mean, after they came, right? The Europeans. So African American history is everybody's history. But this is a way for us to have the correct information. And one of my favorite sayings, being a storyteller and a tour guide and diving deep into black history, is the African proverb that a tree with no roots will snap in the storm. And we have some storms now. And we got to make sure that especially our young people don't snap. But that they are strong and, like you, have the experience where a great-grandmother told you about your history and your heritage. And that's so important that we continue to share these stories with our youth and that we invite them in so that they really know who they are so nobody can tell them what they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're listening to WBOK, the Good Morning Show, at 12:30 a.m., We're talking with Kathy Hambrecht and Michaela Iverson, who's the committee chair for the fundraiser on September 26th. And it is 8:24 a.m. So you got 6 minutes to get somewhere for 8:30, but a little bit more time. You need to be there at 9 o'clock. So if you've got something to say, something to add, some support, the number is 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422.
I just wanted to say that for those who can't make it to the Dewdrop-In on the 26th, then it's super easy to make the $20 donation. Is go to www.saveblackhistory.org.
Right.
And as Smith Hambrick said, no donation is too small because $2 from 1,000 people, hello. So we just got to do what we can, and we can all do a little something.
So this looks like a wonderful opportunity for some people who have never seen a record.
Those big flat black things with music on it, huh?
It's black and round and has grooves for all my grandkids out there. That's what it looks like.
Wonderful opportunity for some of folks of our generation to bring some younger folks around. and not just see it, but to hear the sound, how it sounds.
Yes.
And how it feels. I mean, it's different.
It's different. It's different. It is different. And, I was telling you earlier that, we came up with this idea and we're rolling right along. We're working with Curtis Doucette at the Dewdrop, and we're all excited about getting this program going. And then we started talking about DJs. It's like, well, DJs today, they download the music from a computer.
Right. Yeah.
And so we said, well, we're going to have a vinyl listening party. And then, Will, you said today, well, do you have a record player?
Yeah, right.
And I said,
a turntable.
How dare you call it a record player for my vintage vinyl? And those of us who remember turntables with an equalizer and a receiver and the stack.
I bet you Slick Leo still have his turntables.
Yeah,
famous.
So this is a time I want to say, for your $25, you're supporting a good cause, but we're going to come into the Dewdrop and we're not going to talk about politics. We're going to just listen to this good old-fashioned music, remember who you were dating, who you were loving, who you were marrying, where were you in college, where were you in high school, when you heard Roberta Flack, Killing Me Softly, or Sly and the Family Stone. So, come and let's listen. Let's have
dance.
Let's dance.
Those old moves, huh?
Let's dance and let's have some remembrances and raise some money to save Black history at the Amistad Research Center.
All right. Have some hot fun in the summertime.
The Soul Train line.
Yes.
Pop and lock.
And this is just the beginning of a vinyl series that we'll be introducing here. So this is the first of many. We plan to continue to do this alongside the other larger fundraisers for Amistad.
All right. So once again, that is September 26th, 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. So don't say I don't go to stuff like that because they don't get going to midnight. No, it's at 5:30 p.m.
Straight from work. Come straight from work.
And you can get home
casual
at a
straight from work.
Decent hour. You can make it home.
Yep,
Yes, please.
Yep, you can get home and do what you need to do to get ready for the next day. Only $25 to get your ticket. You can get a ticket in advance. You don't have to do it on that day. And Val Rainey is the point person for that, vrainey@tulane.edu. And feel free to reach out and, look for Amistad Research Center, SaveBlackHistory.org, because whether you come or not, you should go there and check it out and consider your donation there if you can't make it. And you can make a donation and come to the event.
Yes, you can.
As well. So this event will be in honor of and having fun times with Sly Stone, Roberta Flack, Roy Ayers, Angie Stone. Sly Stone, Roberta Flack, Roy Ayers, Angie Stone. Those of you who don't recognize one or two of those names, Google them. And here's what I'm going to say. Don't just Google them and find out who they are. I'd say go to videos and listen to some of the music. And then go to the event and you'll hear how different the music sounds because we're going to have these albums on turntables.
Right. And we're only going to have one.
High quality
turntables. But we are intentional about having one turntable, so we're not going to be mixing it the smart way. No, because remember how it was back in the days?
On the wheels of steel.
Come on. But remember how it was when one song was finished and you're done dancing, then you actually had like a minute to have a conversation.
Yep.
Like, hey, how you doing? Do you want to dance? Should we have a drink? Or what's your name?
I don't know you like that. That's a slow record. I don't know you like that, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
But me, I would have said, I'm good.
Right.
Yes.
That gives room for communication.
Like to come out of this party.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Once again, SaveBlackHistory.org. And check out the Dewdrop Inn on September 26th. Only $25, honoring Sly Stone, Roberta Flack, Roy Ayers, and Angie Stone. Get your groove on. and help support Amistad Research Center. This is WBOK 1230 AM. The talk line is 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Start your day off right.
Just getting your day started.
Early morning gospel on WBOK.
Good Monday morning. I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. A mother charged in connection to her son's death will go back before a judge this afternoon. Hilda Vasquez is the mother of Brian Vasquez, the boy who was found dead days after being reported missing to police. Today, a judge will review Hilda's criminal history to determine if and how dangerous she is to the community. That will play a part in how her bond is set. The bond hearing is set for 3 o'clock this afternoon. Police are investigating a deadly stabbing in Central City. This happened on South Liberty Street yesterday morning. 2 people were stabbed outside of a home. One of the victims later died. Details about what led up to the stabbing are unclear at this time, but police do believe the 2 men knew each other. Investigators are now in the process of reviewing evidence to identify the 2 victims as well as a motive. And it was not the outcome Who Dat Nation was hoping for yesterday in the Caesars Superdome. The Saints lost another one, this time to the 49ers. The Black and Gold were not able to beat an injured 49ers team. Backup quarterback Mac Jones threw for 3 touchdowns in the 26-21 win over the Saints. But the Saints didn't go out without a fight. And it all came down to the last play, but in the final moments, Spencer Rattler was sacked, and ultimately the victory went to the Niners. The Saints have a tough few games ahead of them. They travel to Seattle to take on the Seahawks Sunday. Then the next week, they make their way to Buffalo for Josh Allen and the Bills. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK. Have a great day.
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fit-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
What's the future for New Orleans? Will city services ever function efficiently? Our people need answers, not slogans. That's why the Nonpartisan City Services Coalition has asked the candidates for mayor how they plan to fix city government. Want to know what they said? Go to cityservicescoalition.com to see for yourself. It's time for action, not excuses. The next step is yours.
Paid for by the City Services Coalition.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning. Wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
back to the Good Morning Show, and thank you for tuning in. If you're just tuning in to the Good Morning Show, this is WBOK 1230 AM. I am Will Sutton, and this is Chief Eddie Campos. Why are you here?
I'm here to hear you.
All right, we are here to hear you. We had quite a number of calls earlier, so let me give you that talk line number, 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. Let's hear what's on your mind and find out what's bothering you, what's upsetting you, or what's making you happy. Do you have a birthday, church event? What's going on in your world? We've got lots of stuff happening in our world these days. So we had a great conversation with Kathy Ambrook and Michaela Iverson. They have the big event coming up at Dewdrop Inn on September 26th. Starts at 5:30 p.m. And that is going to be, looks like that'll be a fun event.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with spinning some albums.
Yeah, and then they still got one turntable. So it's going to, that's how it used to be in the old days. You take the record off, because you got that little moment to interact with the people before the next record starts. It's going to be good listening. Good time.
I was looking around and reading some news yesterday and today, and I was actually stunned by this, Chief. Out of 3,300 third graders in the New Orleans public school system, only four were required to repeat the grade under a new state reading law. This is according to Marie Fazio, who writes for the Times-Picayune. And it's not because the city students were so advanced in reading. Nearly half of New Orleans third graders scored below grade level on a spring reading test. Nearly half. But the main reason is that the new law, which requires students to achieve a minimum reading score to advance to fourth grade, only applies to traditional public schools.
Wow.
And therefore, since we are a predominantly charter system, the legislators mistakenly wrote the language so that it only applies to Leah Chase Elementary.
Wow. That type of thinking is scary to a certain extent when you look at it from the perspective that you have that many children that's affected from a law that's superannuated and obsolete. You have to build a strong foundation as a young person actually to matriculate through the system. And if they don't have measurements of, I guess, proficiency in place that are actual, we're stagnating these kids for years and years. And it's causing the problem that we have today from an academic standpoint, that the kids are at the bottom of the academic scale on a national level in Louisiana and Mississippi. We're always at the bottom, and this may be one of the reasons, because they're not being measured correctly. They're not being given the tools that they need to excel once they get past the third grade. Because I think the third grade is the age where they have enough evidence to find out, where the proficiencies are and where the things that need to be improved are. So, they got to fix this. They definitely have to fix this.
Well, I mean, this is a case where we clearly know these kids are not reading on grade level, but the schools have no option but to pass them because the state law was written in a way that they were unintentionally left out. So in the spring, about half of Leah Chase's 52 third graders scored below the cutoff needed to move to fourth grade, according to the data from the school system. And 6 of those students qualified for exemptions due to learning challenges. But 4 students were held back, and 2 of them left the school. So I mean, it's so critical that our students get a clear sense of where they are, that their parents know where they are on their subject matter grade level proficiency. But it doesn't make sense to me to just keep promoting students when they don't have the skills in the grade that they are. We have Mama Vera on the line. Good morning, Mama Vera. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. And I think it's unfortunate that our students are continuing to be subjected to systems that don't really put their best interest in their learning as a priority. It's so many changes and so much inconsistency in learning and all of that. So our children definitely are at risk of not succeeding as long as this continues this way. But I wanted to call in and congratulate Kathy Hambrick and also thank Mikola for their efforts to help to keep Amistad alive and well. And as they said, it's not just Black history, it's all history that is kept at Amistad and available to all people. So I'm encouraging everyone. Community Book Center is supporting this effort, and we're encouraging everyone to go out on the 26th to Historic Dewdrop Inn and listen in at the listening party. But I also want to say that on this Saturday, September 20th, is my birthday.
Hey, early happy birthday.
Yes, and I am happy to be celebrating that special event with a day of mindfulness. Community Book Center, in partnership with Sangha House, will be presenting a day of mindfulness. And I wanted to start my new year off right in the frame of being thankful and knowing how to navigate all of the challenges and stuff that we're facing in our communities, in our world, from a positive, mindful perspective. So we're having an entire day of mindfulness, which will include sound bath healing. It will include a meditative walk along Bayou Road. We will have exercise and stretching. There'll be a conversation around mindfulness. And we are very, very excited to have with us that day an artist by the name of Born One. Born One is a teacher of yoga and meditation. He's a musician, and he specializes in hip-hop and self-compassion. So he has a new book out. It's called Lyrical Dharma, and it's hip-hop as mindfulness. And so he will be reading from his book. He will also do a performance, and he is on tour, so he's traveling all over the country. And we're very, very proud and excited to have him on Historic Bayou Road this Saturday. And it's going to be from 10 to 4. It's free. However, we're asking people to register on Eventbrite because we are going to be serving food and refreshments. We want to know how many people plan to come so we could plan accordingly. So I just wanted to say, I want to start off this week. I want to start off this new year in a spirit of mindfulness and gratitude. Also, just a reminder to the WBOK listening audience, on Friday, September 19th, we will have the homegoing celebration for Brother Sekou Fela. And that will be at the Charbonnet Funeral Home beginning at 12 noon to 1 for the visitation. The service will be from 1 to 2. And also the repast will also be at Charbonnet from 2 to 5. And those of you who know Brother Sekou, WBOK was his love, his passion, and his platform. So let's come together as a community and show our appreciation and love for Brother Sekou.
Oh yeah, he was a friend of WBOK and also a friend of the community. So thank you very much for bringing that to our attention.
Incredible loss, but definitely much deserving of support and celebration for the life that he lived and his many contributions. So that is, did you say that is Friday?
Friday, September 19th.
Okay.
All right.
So that's Friday, September 19th. And
yes, thank you so
Charbonnet.
much for this platform.
And that's at Charbonnet?
Charbonnet.
Yeah.
Everything is at
what time?
Charbonnet.
What time?
12 to 1,
Okay.
visitation, 1 to 2, the service, and 2 to 5, the repast.
All righty.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And-
y'all so much. Have a great week.
Well, one more thing. Let's make sure we get this on the record here for our listeners. So Saturday, September 20th is the
Yes.
mindfulness event and Mama Vera's birthday.
Oh yeah, another
Yeah.
Virgo. Good job.
Starts at 10 a.m. and ends at 4.
Yes. All at historic Bayou Road at Community Book Center.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We look forward to that.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
Have a great one.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, Mama Vera. We appreciate that information. And Brother Sekou's services, visitation services, and repast will be on September 19th at the Charbonnet Funeral Home. One of the things that we need to make sure that everybody is clear about is you missed the opportunity to register in person for voter registration, but that doesn't mean it is too late. It is not too late. You can register to vote online until September 20th, till September 20th. And early voting starts on September 27th and ends on October 4th. So there are some real good opportunities for you to get involved and be engaged. There are still more debates and forums coming up this week, including one that will be on NOLA.com at 11 a.m. This is not one that is open to the public that you can attend, but you can watch it. They've been soliciting questions, of course, and I'm not sure if that opportunity is still open, but you can go to NOLA.com and check out that opportunity. But there are more opportunities for finding out who these candidates are and where they stand. There was some recent polls out just recently, and there's some interesting developments. One of the polls has Helena Moreno increasing her lead to 51% in the race for mayor, and has Alva Thomas above Royce Duplessis by a couple of percentage points, but a number of people who are undecided. So there's room for you if you're among the undecided and registered. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Another hot and mostly dry day, slightly lower humidity with highs in the low to mid 90s. It will feel about 3 to 5 degrees warmer than the actual temperatures. The mostly dry and hot weather continues into the weekend and on into next week. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Late nights are made for chillin', and you can do just that every Sunday night at 10 p.m. as DJ Wick brings you The Love Zone. It's the perfect way to top off your weekend with your favorite old and new school ballads. So sit back, relax, and let DJ Wick take you to the Love Zone on WBOK and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
A message from the community scientist. Do you live or work in St. James, St. John, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, or St. Bernard Parish? You may be exposed to harmful chemicals like phthalates, BPA, and flame retardants found in everyday products but linked to serious health risks. That's why the Community Scientist, a program of Rise St. James, brings you clear, science-based facts that protect your health and our environment. Stay informed, stay empowered. Visit risestjames.org today.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the Whole Water Stove, Pastor David Impartan Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
LifeCare provides valuable whole life insurance to cover final expenses such as medical bills, burial costs, and unpaid debt. A final expense insurance policy is fast, easy, affordable life insurance that's available to anyone between the ages of 50 and 80. No medical exams, no lengthy questionnaires, and no waiting period. The application process is quick and easy. You can even apply without having to undergo a medical examination. Just answer a few questions and we'll do the rest. With the average funeral cost skyrocketing to $11,000 and Social Security only paying $255, you need simple, affordable peace of mind for you and your whole family. Don't leave behind unpaid expenses that, if left unattended, will burden your family tremendously. Benefits include a guaranteed premium that will never increase, a guaranteed cash value, and a guaranteed death benefit that can never decrease. To find out how you can get final expense insurance with a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, call LifeCare at 800-571-9955. That's 800-571-9955. 800-571-9955.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. This is WBOK 1230 AM. This is Will Sutton, and right here with me is my partner, Chief Eddie Compass. We've had quite a show. Before we let you go, let's make sure you have some of this news that you might have missed. A recent poll by Mason-Dixon Polling and Strategy shows that Helena Moreno would be the choice of 51% of voters who responded to this poll by Mason-Dixon Polling and Strategy. Candidates need more than half of the vote to win the race outright in October. If there's not a clear winner, then there would be a runoff in November. The poll also shows that Oliver Thomas, who represents City Council District E, is polling at 16%, and Royce Duplessis, State Senator Royce Duplessis, polling at about 11%. There's more to it than that, and we're going to keep looking at these things across this week. Right now, we got a call from Reverend Calhoun. Reverend Calhoun is on the line. Good morning, Reverend Calhoun.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How you doing?
Good morning.
Look, I just want to remind people that we will have a forum in the Lower Ninth Ward tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the 1400 block of Fats Domino Avenue at Bethel AME Church. All the candidates for District E has said they will participate. So that's tomorrow at 6 o'clock at the Bethel AME Church, 1400 block of Fats Domino Avenue.
All right. Well,
Want to hear from your candidates. That's the place to be tomorrow.
All right. So District E candidates have confirmed. Is that correct, Reverend Calhoun?
Confirmed. That's correct.
So that sounds like that's the place to be if you are a resident of District E, and particularly if you're a resident of the Lower Ninth Ward. There are two major geographic regions that are a part of District E, not one. So there's New Orleans East and Lower Ninth Ward that are a part of that district. So that is 6 p.m. tomorrow night at Bethel on Fats Domino at 6 p.m. Is that correct?
That seems to be right.
Okay. All right. And
All
is
right,
there any
gentlemen. Y'all have a
cost
good day.
or anything people need to do to be eligible to show up? Do they need to RSVP or just show up?
No, you just need to show up.
Okay. All right. So there's your opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, people of all voting ages and stages. Make sure you are registered to vote, and make sure you get to the District E Candidates Forum tomorrow night at Bethel. That's going to be an important one for those of you who want to know more about what's going on and hear from the candidates. As we have said so many times, don't just follow the news reports. Make sure that you are clear about who's saying what and who is trying to get your vote. And you want to be in the place to hear what they have to say, to get your individual questions answered, and we'll tell you more tomorrow.
We'll have
about
a question and answer for the public. Time is included.
Wonderful. Questions and answers tomorrow as well. Thank you so much, Reverend Calhoun. Really appreciate your call, as always, and we look forward to seeing and hearing what happens tomorrow night. We're going to have to get up and get out of here, folks. Incredible as it is, it's time to end this show. The Good Morning Show has to wrap up, and we're going to make way for the front porch with Kimba and Graylin. And I'm sure that's going to be your usual fun and informative cultural perspective on WBOK. We want to thank Tamika and James and Reverend Calhoun for calling in. We want to thank Kimberly Novad of Saul's Light, the founder and executive, for talking about neonatal health care. We want to thank Kathy Hambrick and Michaela Iverson from the Amistad Research Center and their big event on September 26th for talking about the update with the good news of staffing and raising $1.7 million, but needing more for a $25 ticket for September 26th at the Dew Drop-In event at 5:30 p.m. Brother Sekou's funeral is at Charbonnet on Friday, 12 to 1 for the visitation, 1 to 2 for the service and repast after that. And the big mindfulness program in Mama Vera's birthday, September 20th, 10 a.m. to 4 on Bayou Road. You're listening to WBOK, 1230 a.m., what New Orleans is talking about all day long.